Hey everybody, this is the Zotman again with episode 3 audio commentary for RWBY Volume 1. It's been a while since my last audio commentary when I did episode 2, because I've been very busy with school and work and trying to work on some other writing projects, so I'm happy to be back and doing some more. We're going through the intro again. Probably still, to me, a better intro than was the one in Volume 2. But here now we get to see Jean and Ruby walking into Beacon Academy for the first time, and this is where the silhouettes kind of really. I don't know, I mean, I don't mean to be too critical or complain too much, but this is where the silhouettes really, really are ugly heads, and we get our first visible appearance. We get our first appearance of Puranikos here in that shot. So the irony of Jean's comment there, um, that's something we get to see Pura later on, and so I think it's kind of interesting. We see her character model, so with all the other silhouettes, we're thinking, okay, yeah, she'll be important later, but all the other silhouettes we see here will probably not be. Here we kind of see Weiss kind of going up against Ruby again. Ruby is just really portrayed as this very, very shy and awkward girl, but I mean, despite the fact she's so shy, she can be pretty loud when she is actually being social. This was kind of a moment that I thought was a little bit awkward as far as trying to shoot for some humor. I thought it was amusing the first time watching it, but it's kind of a little weird. I like how Yang is kind of standing up for Ruby as the big sister. Hey, let's just start fresh. And she's looking out for Ruby. Yang could have totally just kind of just abandoned Ruby with all her friends, like we see in the second episode. But here she kind of comes back and she really plays the big sister model, which I really like. I think Barbara Dunkelman, as weird as I think she is in real life, um, I think she plays a really good character here. And now here we get Professor Ozpin doing one of his speeches. This is actually one of two speeches we've seen him do so far in this series, if my memory serves me correct. This one here in Volume 1, and then another one about a little bit about Remnant's history in Volume 2, when they are celebrating, unity and peace. But I love Shannon McCormick's voice performance. I mean, honestly, he's awesome. I really like him. I know that I've already talked about how much I really like his voice acting in the first episode, but this was definitely a moment where he really shined through. Shannon knows how to be very charismatic, and I like that a lot. And here we get Jean's, yeah, I'm a natural blonde, comment. Miles Luna just really knows how to just really infuse this life in his character. It makes him really entertaining. I find it interesting that despite the advanced technology that we see in the world of RWBY, in the world of Remnant, RWBY is still kind of handwriting physical letter. I think that's a little bit interesting. This was actually a part of the show where I was watching it for the first time, and I was kind of thinking, what am I doing watching this show in the first place? It's so female oriented. But this show, I mean, essentially, the show was made by a bunch of guys, and somehow they pull it off. Somehow they make it so that it's not just entertaining, for girls. It's entertaining for guys, because at least you have the few characters like Jean and Lyran, and even though they're not featured as heavily as these female characters, they're still made very interesting. Here we kind of see a proper introductions between Ruby and Blake. Blake, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the second episode, but Blake is my favorite character in the Ruby team, with Ruby being a very close second. I love Blake. Blake is kind of a little bit more like me on on more my antisocial days. Actually, she's probably about perfect with what I am when I'm riding the bus around town. I just have this book with me, and I'm just reading, and I pretty much close myself off from the rest of the world, and I I think it's interesting. This kind of feels a little bit like Harry Potter. This scene, just the way it's set, the way the room looks, and kind of the culture that's shown to us through the scene kind of really gives us this typical fantasy setting. I like the chandeliers on the ceiling. It's kind of an interesting detail there. Um, but I also really like Ruby's. We kind of get to see Ruby's character fleshed out more. She's more than just this awkward, shy girl, which, you know, that in of itself is fine, but I really like how she's presented as this character with some depth, you know, who has these goals, she has these um, hopes, you know, for herself, and you know, to be a help towards others, to be something of a hero, and I really like that here. I like how she goes off on this long speech, um, which what makes it different from her long rant in the first episode when why she wants to be a huntress. She really kind of shows that passion, I guess, in a more mature manner, and I like this sister to sister thing here. You know, that just even though Yang, you know, is a good help to Ruby and, you know, sticks out for her sister here, which we see again here when Weiss is kind of rallying up against Ruby. Despite that, they still argue, they still fight, so it's a nice dynamic they have going on. Kind of a nice healthy balance between um, kind of being together, you know, as these friends, but also having sort of their problems with each other too. So now we have the end credits, and I will come back with the fourth episode. See you later, guys.